if you're not an immediate success on the internet, you just need to try a few different things. 2000 should do it. YouTube once seemed a pretty optimal way to express oneself. I've posted on it for 16 years, always managing to avoid success, consistency, and income. Actually a bit longer than that. As a school kid, I delivered a few punny comic monologues to camera because people said I should try stand-up comedy, but I knew I lacked the recall and ambition to take it to stages of pub blokes, instead of the idealist meritocracy of the pre-capitalist internet. It was mostly an assemblage of jokes united by a rough theme, but without any emojis. It's got my character shtick of my honest self, that's someone ineffectually pedantic, not doing it for the brownie points but just in their desperate attempts to understand. Intelligent only in ways that hold me back and make me stupid, joyless, and drifting. They were recorded just in snatched moments. I had the house to myself, rarities I had to plan out. In a predictable twist, my parents saw the clips, took exception to one allusion to in-family bullying in one of them, demanded I take it down, and I deleted everything in the kind of tantrum you have when you realize you're too young to be free. Free children. I mean, don't let your parents find you online. Actually, that's unrealistic advice. Don't have parents. I'm the right age, complexion, and perceived gender to get a Bo Burnham complex from this, as I made entry-level comedy content at a time that it might have sufficed, because his did, and that set him up for being awesome now. Unless I find the old videos on a backup somewhere, I've got room to claim that I was less of a cocky, edgy little shit than him. But otherwise, the existential self-hatred, the multimedia chancing, the comic songs that kinda need video context, the rough 30s, the way we kept tightening our pace and metatextuality that actually ended up quite slow, sad, sincere, and still metatextual. I could dwell in envy of the bad time he's claiming to have with success, condemn the randomness of fame, or realize I'm actually not talented enough to have reached that position, and my life is one for chronic discomfort, manic loneliness, and somehow sub-minimum wage public sector work, while I rise up the assisted dying facility waiting list. I have been more ambitious as a musician because I almost had the skills that would have got me signed if I was found playing in a pub in 1996, which means I could hold a guitar. Fame looks horrible, but expressing and constructing music is cool. Success, fame, whatever, I honestly don't aspire to. I aspire to communicating. Trying to mean something would be bonzer. Though I'm not skilled at visual art, I enjoy the possibilities of a music video, and though I don't have access to a budget or props or effects or someone to hold the camera, I've got the privilege of nobody else caring, so it's just what I want to construct. I've kept this to comic songs, kind of because my allegedly serious songs deserve allegedly more convincing production than I can manage. Not that I write them with visuals in mind. Not that I can get visuals in mind. I used to think that doing some covers among my own songs is a decent way to acknowledge influence and maybe grow the audience, who will be more ready to engage with something familiar, but then they'd find me familiar. That's clearly gotten out of hand now, but in a means that is both obviously way more cover songs and arguably way fewer. I've not bothered constructing one as a non-parody layered studio track since 2011. I think it's just as I've found the craft progressively more difficult to access, it's no longer worth these hobbyist tribute projects. There's just high-effort music and low-effort silly music that ultimately takes a lot of effort. It was already worrying that this playlist reached 1,000. It's got a further 100 since then. That's a better majority than Brexit. I scraped parody song videos together with borrowed equipment, borrowed software, and borrowed original songs. Parody songs had a big moment on YouTube around that time, and I wasn't aware of following a trend. I would prefer to say I was correcting it. Not giving any examples, I find that YouTube parody songs outside of those literal videos could be witless and cruel. With minimal minimal lyrical detail outside of the hook, and humor relying on shock value, but shock without surprise. Yeah, not giving any examples. I choose not to research for proof because then I'd have to see them. I've overanalyzed myself in those in 2 commentary videos thus far. I've also overanalyzed my music and my cover songs habit. If you've gotten this far, then you're used to self-absorbed overanalyzing. You actually like it, and it's your fault. See, therapist? See? In university flats and the terrible mid-20s burdening my parents' house, I made what I had access to. I had the occasional privacy enough to go through a 3-minute song with a few false starts, but not really a means of talking to camera. To be overheard doing a structured song isn't so bad. To be overheard presenting a script felt daunting, and took a mic and camera combination I lacked. Come mid-2010s, YouTube and the internet had gained such a horrible culture, and I felt it needed the balance of those little victimless comedy bits you could find in Flash-era internet video. It definitely needed voices speaking up against reactionaryism, but opposing something still involves being about it. YouTube's culture more strongly needed harmless whimsy. I'd been itching to present the comedy skill I seem to think I have, and thought that the ridiculousness of critics was a good vessel. An emoji were a potent, popular, and somehow untackled resource. It's hard to believe from what I managed to create, but somewhere in the idea for this was the same thing as the online stand-up. The idea that I'd say everything funny I could come up with about something, compile the social media quips I somehow thought decent, but this time with something dynamic and current to bounce off, something that people would want to find online. I insist that mixed emoji in general vibe is something that people would want to find online, but their speculative tense is doing the heavy lifting there. They don't, but they would. I'll overanalyze myself in mixed emojis sometime if I live to be brave enough to watch it all through again, but until then you can pretend that content can actually stand by itself without self-congratulation from a creator whose interest in his own content will never be rivaled. At one point, I thought these videos of hand footage were going to be decent, real-time, unscripted comedy to show off how funny I am. Ultimately, nah. I swear I'm funny, but not in a context that can work by myself unscripted, unless you include laughing at. When I managed to live as an adult somewhere, not being able to sleep at night didn't inconvenience anyone else. I could use rooms and space and talk. I got a camcorder, and I tried these little presentations for internet debate culture. This wall was already green upon moving in, and I thought it perfect for chroma key backdropping, then didn't get the tech or skill for that, and kinda liked the blankness anyway. I hadn't yet learned that camcorder onboard mics suck, that recording voice is very tricky in general, and that a room with no furniture is gonna echo bad. I allegedly have a degree in music technology. Getting a good quality recording, audio or video or whatever, you can use a smartphone in everyone's pocket and make something that's 90% decent, but if you want to clear that final 10% of decency, the extra work and expenses are massive. Look how difficult it still is to mic people for TV, one mic each or a boom operator, how much staff and tech it takes when technically what we can make by ourselves without these insecurities is kind of fine. Like, you could advise me to plug in a mic and mixing desk for my cover songs, and I won't, because formalizing the setup makes it tense and immobile, and it'd be so much more work per clip. Of course, I subscribe to explicitly left-wing YouTube presenters who are able to present ideas as both informative and entertaining. But the applicability of their content diverged as it grew in size. YouTube clips used to be about one thing each, for a couple of minutes, then done. They were clearly heading to a format with more presentation, more asides, something I've since come to enjoy. I didn't put a camera over there, but I could have done that for the aside. But a baggier video can't be linked as a quick answer to a bad argument. Greenwall videos come from when I've ended up arguing on social media against someone who definitely won't listen. My effort is literally wasted there, and the scenario will replay unless I put my effort into a reusable resource, presenting something corrective where my standpoint is objectively mathematically accurate. I've not managed to be smug enough to link myself. Just getting the stuff stuff said sated me. I don't think of it as a success, firstly because nobody watches, but also because I'm not a likable enough presenter to those I would be arguing against. I sound British, look gay, and seem to think I'm right. I played with a few more talky formats and narrowly avoided success by doing a book review in 8 parts. It's things I get interested in and want to info dump at someone, and the vast space of the internet is a good enough target as any. I stumbled into brief visibility when Jenny Nicholson linked me, and thought I should probably try and maintain and bolster that. Maybe more mock-throughs, maybe more silly songs, probably more silly songs that require very specific information to be able to enjoy. I expect to get an audience from doing that, but definitely more political content and whatever, never managed it. I don't have a clear content mission. My channel name is my name, and what I publish is what I make. There's nothing revelatory about scrolling to the bottom of this 2000. The first upload on this channel was just a Sonic Adventure melody I transcribed for somebody, or maybe nobody. The Pokemon song was a re-upload after it was copyright stricken on my other channel. I think it's flipped horizontal like we used to do on YouTube. Then I get started on exactly the kind of shit I make now. This 2000 is bloated by the 1100 of me playing songs, loads of music without video content, multiple videos of tedious self-analysis that would only be warranted if people actually wanted the other stuff. Think how many times I've screen recorded scrolling my own archives. 200 episode series, then little things I kind of thought were funny in the moment but aren't, too much to ascribe it value, and too scattershot to earn faith. I've turned to upcycling other things I've made into video as if YouTube is the end game format. Things I might have otherwise presented as a blog or a JPEG, or remember MP3s. These things are all here, cluttering it for anyone who expected focus. I meant to never get self-important enough to write autobiography, and yet here I am. These longer presentations were initially about social competence from an outsider's perspective, and then about my experiences from my outsider's perspective. For an outsider, I don't get out much. I hope they can help someone relate. Moving toward longer content seems inevitable in YouTube culture itself over time, like Twitter and TikTok losing their unique selling points, and I've followed that. As a viewer too, we used to have standards for how we'd spend our time, but now we're old and single and ADHD and have so much time alive to kill, so we watch long shit. I've become more ready to create long shit through getting used to it, getting better tech, and moving with the medium. I still might delete some of these 2000, or other forces might. As much as the editing and rendering and subtitling of videos involves rewatching them, after some margin of time it becomes heavy cringe to rewatch. I notice how slowly I was talking, odd ways my voice has changed through time, bits I definitely want to change. Probably more so on older stuff or any time I had visible stubble. Being mortally embarrassed is just part of existing. One day we'll crack the formula for it and stop existing. Even if you somehow whittle it down to my arguably respectable video content, it's still a lot, and I'm reaching a point where I write bits I know I've done before, but there's no motive to change it because it's right for the context of what I'm now expressing. I'd love to do YouTube with less, and it's mathematically a near certainty. There's barely any songs left I've not covered. Only a few more things I know and a smidge more for me to discover. I'd like to kick this habit I've gained from loneliness, stop being so disconcerting in present tense, and if I must remain alive, make that better. That bit isn't up to me, but I try. Then I fail and I upload. With quantity reaching this ridiculous extent, I should no longer be insecure about accidentally repeating myself, repeating claims, punchlines, anecdotes, or playing a song I already played 15 years ago. Or Have I already said that in another video? The idea that someone's watched all of this has gone from cute through sectionable to impossible, and each presentation earns its own context. And if I've done the line at the start of this video before, it was a different number then, so it's a different bit. If I tell you now that any further projects are going to be things I really want to get communicated at the time of upload, they were already that. Quality control doesn't apply here. Anyone who's watched this gets that. Stating upcoming projects always changes what you're capable of. It's like an observer effect, a foretelling effect, but ideas closest to the surface for me are multiple is like this videos, enough to wrap up the format until I gain a new experience to write about. Finally recording the 60 plus songs I've written in the past few years. The return of silly song videos, except I'm not slim anymore and can't stand up or play guitar much. One thing about a video game that I might bin. Using my camcorder with its annoying flaws less, and my webcam with its annoying flaws more. Inevitable covers, inevitably. Okay, if you liked this video, unsubscribe. See ya.